Is it safe to open my eyes, Father?
Do it, son. Do it.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. And today, folks, I am talking about the launch date for Star Wars Outlaws on Steam. Yes, it's rapturous, it's romantic, it's rambunctious. It's none of those words. This is absolutely the death knell for Ubisoft. Okay, I'm being a bit melodramatic here. I'm still high on coffee and high on life, but quite seriously, folks, this is probably one of the more funniest stories I'm going to cover. You might be interested, you might not be. YouTube has been being a bunch of D-bags recently with my video coverage. They push out certain videos, but then other ones they don't push out as much. They don't recommend to the algorithm, so hopefully, guys, when you see this video, you'll give it a bit of a push, a bit of a tug. Yes, saucy innuendo, something YouTube doesn't understand. But anyway, folks, without further ado, let's get on with today's video.
Her voice may be almost as important to gamers as Lara's double pistols, curves and skimpy shorts.
Kung Fu Hot Dog
is a Kung Fu renegade cop. Now he must defeat the most evil Kung Fu master in the world.
For a modern gaming audience.
For a new world of unspeakable adventures.
I said, Mummy, I like the way the lady runs.
Get ready for a new world of unspeakable adventures, never before shown in a motion picture. Get ready for
Kung Fu Hot Dog.
Snake. Snake. Snake.
Right?
So I've had to put this in big ass picture mode because quite seriously, I don't know how to magnify my Steam account for the benefit of you lovely viewers. But have a look here, the 40-second Golden Joystick Award, right above Star Wars Outlaws. Why should that even matter? So we're going to concentrate on the reviews. So mostly positive. This reminds me of Anchorman. It's 72% of 99 all the time.
They've done studies, you know. 60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
Shockingly, this game has a positive outlook from some of the fans, as I've just shown here. So look at all of this stuff here. With the Star Wars Outlaws Ultimate Edition, you get the game. Oh, no shit, Sherlock, do you really? The Season Pass, or in this case, Farce, the Ultimate Pack, and a digital fart book. That's right, because that's what we're all craving for, is a digital NFT fart art book. Who cares? But what we care about, folks, is the recommendations or not. So Frosty Baby 13, I thought Steam required developers to clearly outline the differences between standard gold and ultimate editions on the store page. Unfortunately, I had to dig around online to figure out what each pack includes. Now the funny thing is, they've still given this a positive review despite their apprehensions about the different editions. So let's carry on down. Professor J, really glad this is finally on Steam. I can't disagree with some of the criticisms. Yes, it's a Ubisoft open world game. Yes, the stealth isn't mind-blowing. Yes, the controller mapping is questionable, but I really can't help but enjoy this game. It feels more like being in Star Wars than just about any other game I've played. I do really like the protagonist. You need to go to Specsavers, my friend. I'll be talking about her in a minute again. I played this for a couple of hours on Steam, but had to put around 20 in on Ubisoft Plus, so I've spent a decent amount of time with it. How he should have or she should have ended that sentence was, I played this for a couple of hours and decided to get my refund. That's what you should have said, dude. But here we go. Oh, Sinisa said, and not recommended, Star Wars Outlaws takes place in 3 ABY. That's between episode 5 and 6. So after the Empire Strikes Back, or Strikes Back as they said here, and prior to Return of the Jedi, it has decent graphics in gameplay. Are you seriously kidding? What are we looking at here? But the cutscenes are mediocre at best. The game itself originally is very immersive, but after the first few areas, it begins to lack depth, feeling and clarity. I'm adding my own few words here. Its ambitious scope and lack of care from Ubisoft leaves the world feeling bland and uncared for. It's got a lot of content, but it's shallow. The whole lived-in aspect is really quite funny because if you watch Star Wars Rogue One, which for me was the best of that series of films, everybody said, how lived-in do the stormtroopers look? How everything else is very battered and bruised and worn out in that film. And that's something you haven't seen for a very, very long time since the George Lucas originals, right? And it's interesting that this person brings this up here as well. I thought that was pretty cool. Oh, look at this. Star Wars Outlaws title update 1.4 overview. And this is 4 minutes long. This should be very funny to watch.
Response and creation since the launch of Star Wars Outlaws. Your passion and feedback haven't gone unnoticed by the team.
Oh no, they have gone
and we're excited
unnoticed.
To bring
Hi,
you
Drew.
Our next title update.
What we've learned from you is that what we needed to focus on was choice. The ability to choose how to play and with what tools, but also deeper and more engaging combat and more fair stealth.
The update also includes the story pack wildcard, and we are so...
By the way, they're so ashamed of this video, they haven't even got it in 4K. That's hilarious.
excited for you to experience a brand new adventure with K, ND5, and Nix.
Oh, we hate
Player
Nix.
choice has
Burn
always
him.
been important to us, and listening to your feedback, we've found opportunities to add even more. That is why we've increased
Notice the
your freedom
rhetoric here
and
is,
how you
we
approach
listen to your
quests and
feedback,
syndicate
boys and
districts,
girls.
giving you the choice
Have
to use
you?
stealth or your blaster.
We also receive feedback from fans saying that stealth could be a bit challenging. In order to address this, we worked on improving the
Oh yeah,
silent
look at that.
feedback for
Absolute
detection and
badass
making them
crawl
clearer.
space. Oh yeah.
In addition, we've also made some changes to
Hang on a
cover,
minute. Am I
making
watching
it
a
more-
Western here
In
from
addition,
Sam
we've also made
Peckinpah
some
or
changes
Sergio
and
Leone?
making them
Look at this when she draws a gun. Hey, cowboy.
In addition, we've also made some changes to cover, making it more comfortable and reliable by tweaking the controls and camera.
For combat, we've introduced a little bit more elements of skill. Aiming is a lot more rewarding now, so there's a noticeable difference between hip firing and aiming down sights.
The
and we've also added a lot
roll
more
looks
punch when you're hitting
terrible. What
enemies
are they
in particular
talking
body
about? And why has he got
parts.
Nix
And this
in the
includes
background?
the
Nix is a
addition
shit
of new
character.
weak points, which will give powerful effects when you use it. It's also going to add a little bit of that Star Wars spectacle to the combat, which is really fun. For the two-handed weapons, we've also made a lot of changes. Things like their shot spread, their ammo count, and...
Why in a galaxy far, far away do you need a rocket grenade launcher? That makes no sense whatsoever.
Their drop rates have been adjusted, so they're a little bit more tactical in how you use them now.
Yeah.
But the biggest change is that we've made it so that you can carry your two-handed weapons with you in a lot more situations. So now you'll be able to climb walls, climb grapple hooks, and you won't lose your weapons. So there'll be a way for you for a little bit on the journey.
We also received your feedback regarding enemy AI, so we made some adjustments to their decision-making while addressing some of the exploit that we found.
Enemies will now make better tactical decisions.
Oh, will they?
Their damage and
everything they
accuracy
didn't
have also
do
been
with the
adjusted to provide
day
a more
one launch release of this
consistent,
game. Now they're
interesting,
fixing
and
it? Are you
fair
serious?
challenge.
What's really exciting is the amount of improvements that we did on the visual quality of the game.
Hello, Martha
Firstly,
Jenkins.
We tuned the game
Oh, no, the
camera
before and
lens
after.
aperture to give visual.
The toggle screen is hilarious. Before and after, there's no difference. She still looks flat-chested. She still looks like she's been hit with a battering ram. Yeah, way to go, Ubisoft AAA video game design. This is hideous. Get it away from me now. Move.
Was a much sharper look. And you can now also toggle the cinematic lens if you're a player that prefers crisp gameplay visuals over the classic Star Wars look and feel.
Yeah, so you have the crisper vision, so you can see the wrinkles and the hideousness of K-Vez.
We increased the
For sure, Humbly
visibility of the
Gonzalez will be
lights
very
in the
pleased about
distance.
that.
That will make the world feel much more alive, but also it highlights a lot of the points of interests that you will find in all these open worlds that we created. Lastly, we took the opportunity to refine the NPC animations, and you can really see that in the dialogue scenes that are now much more immersive.
Except you haven't refined the animations or given it a complete overhaul of Kay Vez's face.
A brand new adventure.
Yeah, so this is the guy, Navid Kavari, who's responsible. I will hold this gentleman responsible for the absolute shambolic spectacle of Star Wars Outlaws. This gentleman right here, it's the whole creative look. I mean, if you watch the interviews with him and Humbly Gonzalez sat next to him, you can tell he's eyeing her up like, whoa, look at that. Yeah, we worked together on the last Far Cry game, and I get the pleasure of working with Miss Gonzalez yet again so I can ogle her lovely legs. Because Gonzalez is a lovely looking lady. What a shame she's such an activist instead of being an actress, you know? That's what I'm saying. So, oh, by the way, folks, you know I've got to do this, right? SteamDB. Let's do this real quickly, folks. Let's have a look. The Steam charts, or in this case, the Steam farts. Let's see where Star Wars Outlaws is. If I type that in, it should come up. Here we go. Oh, it's not. What? Come on, it must be. Here we go. Look at that. Wow, in the search, just searching for Star Wars Outlaws, you have to scroll down quite a bit. This should be rather funny, folks. So oh, look at that. So players right now, 617. In a 24-hour period, 834. The all-time peak, the same figure. That is terrible for a game that launched yesterday. And in fact, before the launch date on Steam, the figure was around 624, something thereabouts. But that is hilarious. Look at that. 76 positive reviews, which I just covered. 28 negative reviews. But as it's been pointed out, do people actually care about this game now? Look, how this game would have been better, you would have given Kay Vez a complete overhaul, remaster her character, make her look really sexy, really hot, bad attitude, change of outfits. And honestly, I could go on and on and on about that, but man, if you'd given this game to South Korea, holy shit, they would have done justice to this game. And this is in part what Disney did with their Star Wars blueprints, where they gave it to other countries to do their own interpretations in animated form. And honestly, that's what Ubisoft should do. Or Lucasfilm actually, just give this to somewhere else like South Korea and say, look, can you make a Star Wars game? No restrictions, interpret the characters how you want to, and then I guarantee you, oh my God, it'll be a big blockbuster selling game. Or why? Because we've got an attractive female protagonists and there's challenge in the game. If you've played Stellar Blade, it's a very challenging game combat-wise. It absolutely is. I don't like these Souls-like elements within that game, actually, which kind of annoys me a little bit. But I will say this much, folks. There is a little bit of hope on the horizon. Remember I said a few weeks ago that Saber Interactive actually have the Knights of the Old Republic in their list of games to redo, and I think after the catastrophic failure of this particular Star Wars title, Tim Willits and Matthew Koch will be sitting down and they'll think, right, after Christmas we're going to announce that Star Wars, the Knights of the Old Republic, or KOTOR, will get a full remake. And I'll be very curious to see how they actually tackle that, because I'm sure they watch fan feedback from afar, but they don't always acknowledge it, and they'll probably think, hey, okay, there's a really great female protagonist in KOTOR. How are we going to remodel her for an audience that appreciates attractive video game characters? So that remains to be seen, folks, and I think they will actually go somewhere far in announcing it. I can't wait. So that's the only hope left at the moment, is with Saber Interactive. So if I were you folks, and if you were me, and if you don't want to feel the force, then maybe look somewhere else, like watching old movies, which is what I've been doing, and playing old video games. you can catch me catching you for the return of the next video.
I like right now. So Salacious Crumb. Everybody asks me like my favorite character. It's goofy, I know, but that's the whole point. So I had a dog, and she would obviously always eat everything off of the ground. And you know, if you drop something, you'd be like, and she was always waiting for the crumbs. And I was like, okay. And then she became, my nickname was Salacious Crumb for her. So
because you eat all the crumbs from the ground.
not me.